We're unmuted. Everything's ready to go. Okay, I'll call the work session for Tuesday, April the 6th, 2021 to order. Some members of the city council may participate via telephone or video conference. A quorum may or may not be physically present in city council chambers. Texas Government Code 551.127 8-2. Citizens wishing to make comments should email mparks@evermantx.net, mparks@evermantx.net. Citizens' comments received prior to the meeting adjourned will be read to the council. Item 2 is presentations. So item 1, are we doing anything with that one, Craig?
I can just brief council real quick on it, if you'd like.
Okay, item 1 is mobile food vendors, item number 21081.
Unfortunately, Robin Miga wasn't able to be with us tonight, so we're going to postpone the actual presentation portion of this till next week. She had a family emergency that she had to tend to. However, I did want to cover the documents that are included with this. Robin Miga is with our law firm. She is a city planner, and she has been working on the development of the ordinance and the development of the fees. And she's also going to be assisting us with developing the manual that will be implemented on the mobile food vending project and this location across the street from the park. So she's kind of helping us on all realms, making sure that we're creating an ordinance that is robust enough to satisfy the desires of the council and your wishes on having a stringent requirement there and making sure that we're satisfying all the health restrictions and not allowing mobile food vendors to just roam throughout the city. So she's worked very diligently on that, and she'll be here next week to cover that. But there should be 4 documents attached to that. You'll have the memo, 1 ordinance, which would adjust the fee schedule, and something that council needs to be considering and keeping in mind right now is what type of fee amount you would like to apply there. The other ordinance is the actual ordinance affecting the mobile food truck vending, and then the presentation itself that Robin will go over next week. So that's it for now. I think we'll defer anything else until next week when Robin can make her full presentation and be here.
Okay, so item 2, an interlocal agreement, mobility on-demand service between the Fort Worth Transportation Authority and the City of Everman, Texas, zip zone, item number 21080.
Mr. Rodney Woods is here. He reached out, as y'all are well aware. We've been working on the zip zone project for the last couple of months. And Woods, I'll turn it over to you if you'd like. Do you want me to share your presentation on the screen so they can see it? Okay. And you just tell me when to switch pages here, and I'll switch pages.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you, Mayor, for having me back again. It's great to be back here in the city of Everman. Got to visit my parents today. They're right down the road here, so that was pretty cool. They don't get to see them as much as I wish I could, but
That's your fault.
well, yeah. Well, we're getting there. So, but yes, last time I stood here, we talked a little bit about zip zones and some of the services that we're now providing for Trinity Metro. Also had Commissioner Brooks here. So with that, online is my boss, my COO and Vice President of Bus and Paratransit, Mr. Wayne Gensler. He's online, so I just want to make
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hello. And then as myself, I'm the Emerging Mobility Manager for Trinity Metro. So we'll go to the next slide. So just give you a quick background just so that people are, everything is fresh in everyone's mind. Commissioner Brooks started a project of trying to reach out to smaller communities, smaller cities to bring in transit that was available. He was able to secure a grant in the form of $1 million. And between that grant, the money was distributed between 3 cities, which is yourself, the city of Crowley, and the city of Forest Hill. The city of Forest Hill is an active member right now with us. They're doing the more contemporary bus service, though we have smaller buses, not the big bus. We have a 30-foot bus versus a 40-foot bus. And the city of Crowley currently is using one of our zip zones service that I'm presenting here now. Next page. So what is Zip Zone? A Zip Zone is it's not a new service per se, but it's getting very, very popular in the United States. It is a rideshare service similar to an Uber or a Lyft. But the way we run it is we use dedicated vehicles. They're branded vehicles. We background check all of our people. We just do a little bit more to make sure that the ride and the comfort and the pricing is feasible and great for the customer or the citizen in itself. Next one. How to do it, just like any other app. You download the app, put in your information, where you want to go, put in your method of payment, whether it be credit card or some other method of payment, which, by the way, the fee is only $3, and we'll go over that a little bit on the next slide. And then they come out, they pick you up, and they take you to your location. Next slide. As I mentioned before, it's a $3 for one ride, or we also have, we've also incorporated or changed up our fee structure to now the Zip Zone is incorporated into our local day passes, so which that means it's $5 and it pretty much ride all day. You can take a Zip Zone to one of our trains or get on one of our buses, come back home. It's just one flat fee versus $3, $3, and $3. Again, we're here to try to save the citizens and make things more easier and comfortable for them. Next slide. As a result of the pandemic, as we all know, we're seem to be coming out of it, which has been great. As a result, Trinity Metro as a federal government, we still go by the federal mandate laws. So we still require all of our citizens or anyone to get on any of our buses, trains, or any other method of transportation, we still require them to have a mask. So just want to make sure everyone knows that. As things change, or if things change, if the mandate changed, then we would change accordingly. So what I'm here for, what we talked about before was, what we wanted to do is to get the most bang for our buck. And so we looked at combining the services of Crowley and Everman, because you're both using the same amount of funds. You're using the CMAQ grant. And by doing that, we get a bigger range of service. We're able to encompass the city of Everman, city of Crowley, and pretty much the southern portion of Fort Worth, meaning people can get to and from the Miller Brewery or any other location within the geographical zone. They can also go to the Walmart in Crowley if they want to, and back. Again, for those same fee structures, if they want to do one way, it's $3 or $5 for the whole day. They can also go to the hospitals, which is something my parents was excited about because they've been having problems getting to the Hughley Hospital. So this would be great. It'll be a great service for them. So we just see more positive reactions on that. And that's what it will incline. And that's it on this one. So here's the actual service area, what it would look like. Again, encompass all of the cities that we talked about, southern part of Fort Worth. And actually it also encompasses TCC, because when we were doing the research, and which I was telling Craig here, we did a lot of research to find out where people were going or where they could go if they were in this city and within this southern area. And we realized that even though TCC currently has been doing things remotely, TCC is getting ready to come back in full force this fall. And we know that there are a lot of students in this area that would need some type of way of getting to TCC and some of the other areas that we've mentioned here before. So that helped in us outlining this geographical zone and making this the way we think looks right. Here are some of the other fixed routes that would be that you would connect to, or you can easily connect. You basically connect to pretty much anywhere throughout our service region. We have some buses that you can connect and go all the way over to Hewlin Mall, or Wrigley Mall. Or we have some stuff where you can connect and get all the way up north. It would take a little bit more to do because it's connections versus a direct route. The zip zones and that geographical area I showed is everything in that area is a direct route. So you wouldn't have to change or transfer. It's just get in and go straight to where you need to go.
As long as you remain in that service area?
In that service area, yes.
Okay.
And to anything out of that service area, you can still connect, but it will require, again, you may have to transfer to one of the different routes that we have. I present here. Next. And here are just some more things that I've already mentioned before. Again, you can connect to a lot of different restaurants, Bourrées, which got the pleasure of doing that last weekend. That was pretty cool. Haven't been there in a long time and never been to the one at Crowley. So that was definitely cool. A lot better than going way up north. And then, like I said, some more major employers like Albertsons, the Kroger's, the Walmart, Winco, which we found are very popular destinations that people like to go to. And you'll be able to connect directly to those as well. Next. So the cost. So the cost for this service is the way the area is expanded and the way we looked at it is basically we got it right at the allocated CMAQ grant. So it'll be fully covered under the grant at no cost to the city. And next. And basically that is it, other than Wayne, before I give the questions answered, do you have anything that you want to say, or Shanti?
Other than, we're really excited to be able to offer the service, and especially under the grant. We are really just attempting to give you as much service as we can, and maybe you could review the days of the week and the hours of the day that the service will be operated, Rodney. But by combining the two, we were able to expand hours. So not only you will have the enjoyment of having longer service hours than Crowley did originally, but Crowley will be able to enjoy that as well. Plus, we thought it was extremely important to connect via zip zone to those job centers that we mentioned in South Fort Worth, like the Bunny Bread plant or Miller Coors Brewing plants. So good stuff. We're very excited. And obviously, if people want to, they can utilize day or week pass and use all our services. And you never know, maybe someday somebody would want to connect and catch Textro up to Grapevine to enjoy that main street as well. So you never know what people might want to do. And this gives people that connectivity. And so we thank you for giving us that opportunity to show you what it's like, and hopefully your citizens will enjoy it.
How long has Crowley been under your service with the zip zone?
Yes, exactly 8 months now.
Okay. Oh, so I thought they'd been here longer than that.
No, exactly 8 months. It took a little longer just because of going through and just making sure what works for them and what fits for the area. And as Wayne mentioned before, we had to just try to make sure it was tailored for them. And then, like I said, this expansion or combination, again, it took a little while, so apologies for that. But again, we just wanted to make sure we got it right. We didn't want to and make it right for everyone in the area. So
you guys have been more receptive than the initial people we were dealing with, and we just felt like they were trying to cram it down our throats, and they were trying to sell us a service that we didn't need. I don't think we're gonna. I don't know we'll ever be at the point we're gonna need big buses driving through here, but you never know. So this is a good start. So
yeah, we think it's a good start again, and I don't know. I've seen your housing going up around here.
Yeah, but most of it's Fort Worth.
Oh.
When would this start for Everman?
I'm sorry.
When would this start for Everman to participate?
If you decide to go ahead and move forward with this, then we can get this launched as early as June 1st.
How long is the grant?
And it's for a year, correct? What is the date range?
So we do it in, the grant is good for 2 years. So you have the monies for at least 2 years. But we do it in 1-year terms. So it'd be 1 year with 1 year to extend. That way, if you don't want it again, if you see this is not for you, and there's also easy termination clause in there. If you see this is something that you don't want or move forward, it's pretty easy to get out of. Again, we didn't
When
want
you-
to go down your throat.
When you were here last time, you said that y'all would do the advertising for the city.
That is correct. That I've budgeted advertising in there as well. So that's all inclusive within this grant money.
Okay, and when would
need
you start the advertising?
I would have to get with our marketing department on that one. I would assume if this goes through, then if they would get with you pretty quickly to do some advertising and do some working. I know when we did City of Crowley, we worked on a lot of the marketing material. And one of the things that Crowley did was they placed what was happening in the water bills. And so that was one of the first ways of us getting the stuff out to the public. And then since then, we've done a lot of digital campaigns, of course, Facebook and whatever other social medias that the marketing uses.
I mean, obviously, June 1st, you want people to be using it. It's not to your advantage for people not to be using it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that's early. We can, by all means, push it back. But if we want to push it hot and heavy, I can get it done by June 1st.
And may I just add, what we'll do is, if you approve it and then you sign the document, our board or our president and CEO will sign the document. Once we have the agreement in full force, and then we'll start planning our campaign and launching it as soon as possible. Some of the things we'll do is we'll do some really local walking the community and hand-billing people with the new service, what they can see and what they can expect. We'll do social media, and we'll look at different techniques that work within the community. And if something isn't working quite the way we thought it would, we'll certainly reach out and work with you all, and maybe you can give us some tips for your community as well. But we'll do what's necessary to get the word out, because you're exactly right. Once we start the service, we want people in the seats. Not having people in the seats, what we do then, because that happened, we double our efforts on making sure that we get the word out. And generally speaking, you'll see free rides in the beginning so that we can get people used to it. And then once we get them used to it, we survey the current clients to understand what they like, what they don't like, so that we can improve the service. So we'll do all kinds of things as we move forward. But once we get a signed document, we'll get the wheels rolling. Not literally, but we'll get the wheels of all our marketing together and going.
Okay, so now when would you start the advertising?
So I would say shortly after, a week or so or two after we get the document signed and processed by both parties. We have to have that legal document before we can start doing anything. But if we're starting June 1st, I want to make this clear. We absolutely got to start as soon as possible, because we have to get people in the seats. We don't want to drive around our first full day and no one taking rides. We want people taking rides, and we'll get the word out via social media, newspaper advertising if necessary, local flyers, whatever we need to do, hand billing, however we need to get that out. But we'll start that very soon, and we'll do a rollout with people understanding that zip zones are coming.
any other questions?
Mayor, the only thing that I would add is that we're going to be presenting this next week for council to make a decision on. Keep in mind, this is a 2-year grant that it will cover for, so the city's going to have to bear the cost for every year after that, unless additional grant funds are sought. So that's just something to consider when you guys are voting on this. As it stands currently, if we were asked to spend $166,000 this year on this service, I would make the recommendation that we not move forward because of the current financial position. That doesn't mean that something's not going to change in the next 2 years. It might, but it's just something to consider as you approve this, that in 2 years, we may not be in much of a better financial position to continue this without grant funds. So just something to consider as we move forward, but we'll certainly present it next week for you to vote on.
Well, we'll know what kind of usage we're getting in our city also.
But he
So-
mentioned that it's a 1-year contract.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Well, it's a year-to-year
It's
contract.
not-
Right.
So,
So, but like if we have it for 6 months, then definitely people are not taking advantage of that. I know that you talked about early termination clauses in there. So is that's something
That's something we do have to back.
but just keep in mind, it's not costing us anything.
Correct.
So, and like Wayne said, they will work to try to get people to ride the service. So we've got to allow them time to see if they can make it work too. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't rush to judgment within the first month, 2-3 months. You know what? We have things that work in some communities and sometimes they don't. And then we redouble our efforts to try something different. We don't give up. We never give up. You know, we've been doing this through the pandemic, and I could tell you, I could show you graphs where all these zip zones are. We continue to see growth in ridership in them. So they don't start off like a big spike like you would love them to do, but they gradually slow as you get people used to it, and they go, oh, they start communicating. Sometimes the best thing, right, is word of mouth, and that'll happen. And I have graphs I could show you that shows that exact climb, especially through the pandemic. We're really proud of how we see the growth in the zip zone ridership because people are getting out more and we're expanding the zones. With you all, you're getting expanded into the Crowley zone, and we're expanding into South Fort Worth. So you're already starting off on a bigger zone than the other ones we started up, and we think that'll be good for the community.
Just keep in mind the grant covers the first 2 years.
Yes.
So it's not going to cost us a dime for the first 2 years.
Got it.
It's the third year that we're going to have to start discussing. So, any other questions?
Yes, well, a comment. I like the idea, but I don't like the third year. Because at this point, we don't have $167,000 to lay forth on this on the third year. So we use it for 2 years. And I'm not a naysayer. I just want to put this out. We use it for 2 years. Everybody's happy with it. They love going everywhere. And who knows, maybe by then it's been extended a little bit more because of another cities contracting in. And so we're going to look like real jerks if on that year 3, we don't have any more money and we've got these people used to going all over the place for that $3 fee. And then we have to jerk the rug out from underneath them because we don't have $167,000. Now, I know that things could change. Maybe somebody could win the lottery and give it all to the city of Everman. I don't know. But I'm just real leery about getting everybody real comfortable, real accustomed to this wonderful thing, and it's wonderful. And then we pull the rug out from underneath them in 2 years. And I just want that thought out there.
Well, Susan, I've had the same concerns, but at the same time, I think there's some grant opportunities out there that we can try to obtain.
And well, we're not too good on grants.
Well,
And we
we're
better
getting
start
better.
today.
We're getting better.
What we can do, Mayor, is we can reach out to Commissioner Brooks's office and see who was the initial grantor on this, the applicant, and see if we can work with his office to apply for additional grants to keep this funded. I can't guarantee anything, but we can see how it goes.
But maybe if we communicate that to the community that it's under a grant and stuff, and make it easier for them to think, we don't get to, and we have to pull it under them, that it's not because we wanted to, but it's just that we were doing this with the grant. So
That's a
I mean,
good question, Rodney and Wayne. Is that when you guys advertise this, is there a way that you can include that in the advertisement, that this is a 2-year grant opopportunity out there so the public knows that going into it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we certainly can call it a pilot, which would communicate that this is a grant funded opportunity, or at least that's what we call it in the industry, a pilot. But we can work something in, I'm sure.
sounds
Good.
great. Thank
I
you.
just
Well,
want to
you
make
know,
sure
you
that
know,
everybody
not-
ready for it.
Not only that, but if our residents see how it's working in other areas, I mean, whether it's the advantage or the disadvantage, I mean, they can come to a conclusion regarding that as well.
Yeah. As
Okay,
long
but
as they can come up with
what we
$167,000.
know by this second year, I mean, if a grant is available for it,
We should already be putting in for it before then.
right, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
We
But
should
that-
know.
But that's what Craig said. He's gonna reach out to Commissioner Brooks'
Right.
office. They've been very receptive to helping us. And we can start working on it as soon as we get this thing going.
And as it relates to grant opportunities, anytime that you apply for a grant that affects a region rather than a single municipality, you're more likely to get funded. So we'll stand a better chance of working with Commissioner Brooks's office to fund a similar project like this through Crowley and Forest Hill, and seeing if we can't maybe get a renewal grant for a regional transportation project for the citizens.
Well, COG loves regional,
Yes.
so
Yeah, I was gonna say, the tree management, we also have our grants department in which,
Oh, well, let's
we-
talk.
we.
Come
we-
on.
We will be actively engaging. We don't just start
Great.
and leave, so to
Great.
speak.
Perfect.
Good, because you guys aren't
Good
going to make any money if we don't have any to pay you.
That is a-
Okay, I just needed to get that out there. Thank you.
Is Burleson an object? Is there any way?
Actually, there's been talks. We just haven't gotten there yet.
Oh, okay.
Part of it's Tarrant County, part of it's Johnson County.
Yeah,
So
that's
that
where
might
the-
be a-
that's where the
that's the issue.
issue is because of the line, unfortunately.
do we have any other questions? Okay, thank you, Rodney. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Wayne.
Thank you, Rod. Mr.
And
Wayne.
we
Thank
will be
you.
voting on this next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate.
Thank you.
Rodney, we'll send you the Zoom link next week too. So
Okay, no problem.
hopefully it'll be a pretty quick meeting. So unless you just want to make the drive, you can join by Zoom, but you're always welcome in our building.
Like I said, I don't know if y'all know, my mom and dad, Doreen Williams and Joyce Williams, they're right around the corner. So
Great.
anytime I come out here, they're happy.
Thank you so
I have
much.
a feeling he's
you.
gonna be here next week.
Yes, good. Thank
Tell mom and
you.
dad we said hi.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, you have a good one.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you,
too.
Wayne. Okay, next item is discussion items. Item 1 is water rates. Item number 21082.
I'm not going to start this conversation off with much other than just opening it up for an opportunity to discuss once again any concerns or questions. I did not receive any requests for additional information, so I don't know if anybody has or would like to see any additional information regarding the water rates, but following my presentation last week, I just wanted to grant an opportunity to open it up for discussion with City Council once more before we bring the recommendation back next week to adopt those average rates that we talked about last week.
Have you checked into any other options such as whatever it was we did with the getting the renovations for as not grants, but because I had mentioned us possibly going through voting with the residents, but I'm just okay. First of all, when is this needed? This needed this fiscal year, correct?
Yes, ma'am. We'd be proposing this to be adopted next week.
Okay, so have you considered, like I said, getting a loan like we did with the renovations?
We're not in a position to borrow any more money for. Yeah, we can't take any more loans out. We've already borrowed well over $7 million over the last year for infrastructure projects. We're not in a position to do that, and I'm not sure that. Well, and I know that unfortunately borrowing money would only be a temporary solution. It's not going to make our system sustainable.
Temporary solutions to the permanent problem.
And keep in mind, like I discussed last week too, is that the goal with the water rates is not to make money. This is to cover solely the expenses associated with maintaining the infrastructure with the water system.
So
That's
when were you made aware that we were in such a dire need of funds for it?
Well, we've known this as a city for the last 3 years is when they started, Mr. Gunderson began implementing the $2.50 base rate fee for sewer and water annually.
Right, but
we
not
didn't-
for this amount of money though, correct?
Right, not for
Because
this
I
amount of
mean,
money.
you went from $5 to $25.
Not 25. So the base rate increase overall for the resident would be, I believe it's right around $13 a month impact on the
Okay,
resident.
so we went from $5 to $13.
Correct.
I mean, has that much changed?
No, man, we've just been that far behind.
Johnny, we wasn't making up any ground. Every time one of these increases took place, it was fine until the next budget year hit, because we were building money up until then, but then budgetary things come into play, and we wasn't making any more money until we raised the rates again.
Okay, so you're still wanting to ask, on it says 1446 monthly.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, I was just about to make that correction. I was looking for the page, but yes, so it's $14.46 month
Right.
impact to most residential customers.
Right, so are we looking at doing it all at one time or splitting it in half a different, or?
My recommendation would be to do it all at once and just rip the Band-Aid off and be done with it, because if you do it at two separate times, I don't think you're going to lessen the impact on the residents. You're just going to upset them twice. If that makes any sense.
They do call here and complain when we do raise the rates.
So one thing to keep in mind that will hopefully be highlighted next week as well when we do the audit review is that we're utilizing over $300,000 from general fund to supplement and maintain our water system. Just to keep it out of the red. 3 years ago, our water fund, our reserves were well into the red. And just now we're getting it to where we're almost breaking even. I mean, we have just over $10,000, I believe, in water reserves. Any catastrophic issue that we have, that is not going to cover that.
Okay, so is this $14 a one time, or is this monthly?
Monthly. It'll be a $14.46 monthly impact.
But when we talk about the rates, so how does that impact the rate? So the consumption of the water is what we're talking about?
It would be water and sewer.
These are the base rates, right?
Let me share my screen so you can see what I'm looking at.
So a bill is going to go up about $30 a month.
No, it'll go up $14.46 a month.
So that is $7.25 for water and $7.25 for sewer.
It is actually $5.55 for water on residential and $8.91 for sewer on residential.
Okay.
And keep in mind, this will not affect our senior citizens if we decide to.
There's already a senior citizen rate.
Yeah, but
I have not proposed a change to that senior citizen rate. That would be at the determination of council. I mean, whatever rate you would like to elect, whether that's the same rate currently or a slight increase, that would be up to you as council.
But you hadn't added. Right now, you're leaving it where it's at, right?
Right now, I've left it where it's at currently.
For our senior citizens.
Correct.
What is our senior citizen rate?
65 and older.
Yeah, but what is the rate?
I don't think I have that on this report. It's close to 18. I think it's $18. I don't think it's on this report at all on my presentation. Give me just a second. I'll tell you. My water is back. Yeah, so the senior citizen rate is $18.23 currently. And the sewer senior citizen rate is $21.77.
Thank you.
Okay, go back to that previous slide you were looking at with the pipes in inches. Yes. Can you tell us? Sorry, I've got all these papers here.
No, you're fine.
What's the difference? I'm not saying this right because I know the difference between a 3/4 inch pipe and a 1 inch pipe, but what do we use those? Who's got those size pipes?
So all of our residential are 3/4 inch. We do not currently have anybody on a line that is larger than 3/4 inch in residential. We have rates set for larger size lines in case developments and things occur or somebody changes their line size. We have those rates set, but we don't have any customers on those size lines. These lines here, 3/4 inch, 1 inch, inch and a half, and 4 inch, these are all commercial size lines. So typically the larger your business, the larger the commercial facility, the larger water supply you're going to have coming into that building.
Where's the 4-inch pipe at?
That's a good question. I think that's at the supermarket, I believe.
The Evans supermarket?
Yes, ma'am. That entire strip is on one system.
A 3-inch one. There's only 3 accounts on that. It's okay if you don't know off the top of your head. I was just.
I do not, unfortunately, off the top of my head. I have a list here, but it's going to take me a year to go through all 1,900 accounts to find that one.
No, it's not important. I was just curious. Okay. Back to the current base rate versus survey average page. Yes. All of your, it says type, and then it's got inside in parentheses. What does that mean?
So we have water rates established for inside the city limits, and we have water rates established for outside city limits. Most cities do this. Currently, we do not have any customers on our system that are outside of our city limits that we're servicing. So I didn't include them on this page just to try not to convolute the page with information.
Gotcha.
I thought we had some down off of Enon in Fort Worth that was on our water system.
Not currently, not according to Edna. We do not have any on our service list.
Okay.
So this page right here is just to give us an idea
Yes,
of how far behind we are, really.
yes, that is absolutely correct.
So we're actually supposed to be at 2678.
That is what the survey average is for like-sized cities in North Texas. Yes, that is what other cities are charging. The one thing that this doesn't address is we are also behind on our step rates, but we're trying not to over impact everybody here. So we're not even addressing the step rate issue currently. We're just looking at the base rates. Really what we need to be doing is during the budget process every year, we need to be evaluating our water rates once we have it set at the average and adjusting those water rates in small increments that do not impact residents.
Now you're talking about their usage.
Yes, the
After
usage.
they're past the 2,000 gallons,
Yes,
then we charge for every 1,000 gallons after that?
in
There's a dollar
phases.
amount?
Yeah, in phases.
Okay.
Is that on my presentation? Yeah. Yeah, so we charge, their first 2,000 gallons is covered in their base rate. After that, they're charged $4.26 for every 1,000 gallons between 2,000 and 5,000 gallons. And then $4.59 between 6,000 gallons and 10,000 gallons. $4.98 for 11,000 to 25,000. And then anything over $25,000, they're charged $5.20 per 1,000 gallons.
And is what you just discussed, is that what you're calling the step?
That's the step rate, correct?
Okay.
And those rates have not changed in years, just FYI. But we'll focus on the base rates right now.
Yeah, one thing at a time. We don't want our citizens to vote us out of office. Oh darn, I had something.
After this, at the end of the year, how much would you have collected with the increase?
Oh, you're talking about the how much?
Our
Revenue we're
reserves.
gonna, yeah, how much reserve are we gonna get?
What would our reserves be by the end of the budget year?
Well, right now, I mean, not much more than what it is now, $10,275.
I mean, with the increase.
With the increase, we should be able to, hold on.
It was on one of those pages.
Wasn't it like $400,000 within 6 months?
Yeah, $464,267 is what we need to be having in our reserve balance. That's our goal. We should be able to build that. We'll be able to meet that reserve goal in 2 years.
2 years, okay.
Yeah, this will increase revenue over 380,000. This will balance us out. If we accept the average rate, we will no longer be required to utilize general funds to supplement our water system improvements. Because right now, not only are we charging customers to maintain the water system, we're charging them the water rates we currently have. We're also utilizing property tax, ad valorem tax, everything to cover. And what that does is that actually inadvertently hurts property owners more than it does renters.
That's actually driving our ad valorem taxes up.
Yes.
If we can get this under control, then we can really work hard to get our ad valorem tax rate down,
Yes.
which currently we're at $1.14.
Correct.
And, there's one point we were up to $1.35. We were the highest in the state. And I've already told Craig, I'd like to see us within the next 4 years to be below $1.
That would be good.
So, but that's doable.
Right.
If we can just get some things straightened out.
Well, we just have to do this. We cannot keep using general funds monies to bail out the water department, if you'll pardon the pun.
That's what it is.
Yeah, exactly. And we've got, it's going to hurt that first 2 or 3 water bills, but we're all going to get used to it.
Right.
And we just have to do it.
And I try not to be, I'm not saying this in an ugly manner, but if we do not address the water rate issue, we're going to be faced with 2 options. And that is to either A, increase it and accept it and move on at a later date, or B, we're going to have to outsource our water department to another city, likely the city of Fort Worth, and you're going to be faced with the same bill regardless.
Yeah.
And I understand the median income issue. I understand that this is going to hurt some of our folks. We're going to try our best to address those on fixed income by setting a senior citizen rate and advertising better about the availability for that senior citizen rate to those that are on a fixed income. However, it doesn't unfortunately affect the cost of operations for the city, and we have to be able to cover our costs and expenditures related to this. Additionally, we've got grant funds that are coming in to assist us in redoing all of Forest Hill Drive. That's going to create some major improvements along Forest Hill Drive. That project is expected to kick off within the next 2 years. Before that project kicks off, we have to have the funds and be ready to address the infrastructure issue that's going to go underneath that roadway before they put that roadway on top. Otherwise, we're going to have a brand new 5-lane concrete road that comes right down Forest Hill Drive that we're going to have to dig up and replace because we have a dilapidated water system below it.
Yep.
And that's the same method that we've been going through for years. It's been a problem. And if we can accept these water rates and move forward and build these reserve funds, we should be able to tackle those kind of projects without having to go out for special loans just to be able to keep our system afloat.
Right. Gotcha.
I hate it, but it's a necessary evil, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
No.
Susan, I agree with you. I don't like it, but it's a necessity. It's something that we've got to do.
Absolutely.
And like Craig said, there was discussion about doing it in increments, but at the same time, every time you raise water rates, phones are going to light up down here, people complaining. So let's get that one time out of the way and let them get their complaining out of the way, and then we can move forward. So
this is another instance where we need to advertise this or let people know that because of the current state of our water department funds, how much we're not bringing in, and advertise that we've got to fix Forest Hill Drive's plumbing before we make it a 5-lane road. We've got to tell them it's coming and what we intend to do with it. We're not just raising the rates so we can go to Las Vegas. We've got to raise those rates to fix up the roads and things. And we need to tell them, we owe it to them to let them know it's coming.
If I can get a general consensus from council, I can start that whenever you would like.
Yes.
do we want to look at putting that in the water bills?
Well,
That's a good place.
social media,
Social media,
website, we can put it into the water bill to where it's a note on the bottom with a link so they can go and get information, that kind of stuff.
The more they're aware, the more receptive they are about what's going on.
Yes, I totally agree with that. If they know about it ahead of time, we're going to get complainers, but we'll get fewer complainers because they'll understand what we're doing and why. It's the why people, if we just tell them we're going to do something, well, again, I guess they're thinking we're funding a trip to Las Vegas. We need to tell them the why that we're fixing to add $15 to their water bill every month. And as long as they know the fruit of this project, I mean, I would complain until I knew, oh, you're going to fix Fort Hill Drive, man, that needs it. Give them a why, make them part of it.
You're correct on that. And because I've dealt with some citizens and they've called me complaining about stuff. And once I explained it to them, they were happy.
Yes.
It's all
yes.
about just
So
knowing.
they
letting
just
them
need
know.
to understand. So and
Yes.
I think we can do that. So,
And how soon would you like that put out there?
well, we can't do it till we vote. I mean,
How about Wednesday of next week?
Right. As soon as we do
yeah,
it.
We can have it written.
Yes.
let's make sure this thing passes next Tuesday and then it can start immediately.
Okay.
Good.
We'll have it prepared to go Wednesday morning.
Excellent.
Is everybody good?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Next item is item 2, fire engine replacement, item 21085. Landon?
Should I talk about the mic here? Well, as everybody knows, with the approval of the CIP recently from the Planning and Zoning Committee, and then with y'all last month, we wanted to really focus in on what is the most important, what is the most urgent needs, and after discussion with myself, Chief Spencer, and finance, knowing where we are financially as a city, with the anticipation of fixing the water rates and getting us out of the hole that we are in within the other departments, we feel that it's beyond past the time to go ahead and nip this in the bud and step forward and figure out our path and our plan for replacement of the fire truck, fire engine, whatever it may be. Knowing that we've got a lead time of anywhere between 12 and 18 months, we're still completely behind the curve and behind the ball. And so we feel, knowing that where we're going to be with our city as a financial status, that it'd be smart to go ahead and move forward with making a decision on this.
Now, Craig, have you run any numbers on this, or Susan, and in 12 to 18 months, are we going to be financially able to take on the annual cost for a fire engine or Quint?
We have made several adjustments within management on different areas, such as the TPX phone system, the internet, those all the various things that we've changed, and that's allowed us to make some budget cutbacks somewhere in the ballpark between $100,000 and $150,000. We're not going to know those numbers until probably 6 to 7 months from now, when we can see the exact impact. But that, coupled with the general fund having money back allocated into its operations of the roughly $380,000, I would feel in a comfortable position to be able to afford the 10-year payment of that's estimated on the sheet that Landon provided.
120,000, 322.92.
No, the 10-year.
Yes, that's a 2.99 interest rate off the government capital. That's the updated one. That's the one.
How much would it be a year?
120.
120,000.
Roughly 120,000.
125?
No, 93,140 and 47.
Okay, I'm hearing lots of
That's
numbers.
off the last. What's the finance amount? Is that one that was attached to the CIP?
Yeah.
Okay, what was the finance amount?
Okay.
When were you saying it was needing to be replaced?
That was the previous amount with where the rates went up and then without.
Hold on just a second, John.
That's with the additional reduction of the trade-in. This was, he just gave us one that without the trade-in.
Can you give me that so I can get that to all of them? Okay.
Okay,
This
so
is what it said. I'm sorry, go ahead. Who had a question?
When were you saying it needed to be replaced?
3 years ago. No, unfortunately, if you recall, Engine 19 suffered a catastrophic engine failure last year, and that cost us $60,000 to repair. There are continual issues with the engine that it's going to continue to cost us maintenance every year, probably somewhere in the ballpark of close between $15,000 and $20,000 a year, barring any major issues. So we're spending that on maintenance as it is right now, just to keep that apparatus in service. It is past its life for replacement, and it still has some value to it in the aspect of we can sell that as an asset to roll back into the purchase of a new apparatus. So rather than driving the truck till it's just flat out dead and not worth anything, it's better to, while the truck still has some value left into it, sell it and use the profits from that asset to roll it back into the purchase of a new asset, which will help offset some of this hit to the general fund for purchase of a new truck.
Okay, so when are you saying it needs to be replaced? Today, tomorrow, next December, or what?
Yeah, as soon as possible. We would ask to go ahead and move forward and approve this as soon as possible. However, it takes roughly 12 to 18 months for them to build the fire truck. We would not be making any payments on this apparatus until that fire truck is delivered.
18 months, even if it was delivered in 12 months with the cost of earnings, they've got it for 18 months before first payments due.
Okay. So 18 months.
How are you talking about paying for it?
Through general fund.
Okay, so what is actually the total cost? What is actually the total interest rate? And how many years are we talking about funding?
Stand by. He just sent me the updated one. I'm about to share my screen so you can see it, and I will forward this to you as soon as we're offline as well.
So you were saying we wouldn't get it until 12 months? It takes 12 months for us to get that?
Minimum 12 months.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they can build it to our specifications.
Got it.
The issue that we're running into now also, as everybody knows, with all the stuff going on with the economy, building materials, metal costs, they're going all over the place. There is an issue. There's a shortage across the board. We know with fleet as well, we're having issues with getting new vehicles because there's an aluminum shortage. So 12 to 18 is what it would be in an ordinary year. Who knows if it's going to be even more greater delayed. So, which is another reason why we feel that this is incredibly important.
Got it.
If we don't purchase something now, we don't get in the queue, and we just get pushed back further and further.
Got it.
So the total amount financed would be $1,057,607.35 at a 2.99% interest rate over 10 years. This is the one that we're looking to go with, a 10-year finance, making the annual payments $322.92.
That is for the Quint?
Yes. You were looking at roughly $900,000 for the equivalent engine that we wouldn't get now. County's paying for a tanker, stripped down tanker. They're paying $650, I believe, which, as we know, there's not near as much fluff, I guess you could say, to those. They're bare bone, they're stripped down. So prices of fire apparatuses went through the roof, and that's just kind of the going rate now.
So why did it make, okay, on this other one that y'all sent, 10 years, it's looking at like 93 at 2 point, how come them to change this?
There's two reasons. One, at that time, the original figures do reflect our trade-in, and our trade-in was substantially more. This one does not reflect our trade-in because he couldn't put it in there because we don't know what we're going to get out of value of that. At the time, I believe that the value was $95,000 for our trade-in vehicle we currently have. This one does not reflect that numbers, nor did it include the increase that they do every year in February. Every apparatus manufacturer does an increase somewhere between 4% and 5%. So they hit you in the pocketbooks every single February.
So this number can change once they give you a trade-in amount. Got it.
Yes, it will go down, yes.
Yeah, I see the other one was dated for June 2020, and now this one's March 2021, so I can see that now.
And he's been researching this for a while.
Yeah, okay. All right, thank you.
Can we check with Metro Fire so our
No,
Quint matches
God,
our bumper tanker?
Oh, come on, man.
That hurts. That hurt. That really hurts. And to be honest with you, because I would like to be as unbiased as possible, and probably shouldn't admit this, but one of the individuals that is the sales manager, I've got a long-term relationship with. I've been friends with him forever. It'd have been awesome if they'd have came at a better rate, but they were actually more expensive than anybody.
I'm just giving you a hard time. So
Well, I feel like I got to at least explain why we went there.
Okay, so Craig, you're gonna send us that, right?
Yes, ma'am. I'm going to email it as soon as we're offline here.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
do we have any other discussion?
Yes, there's just something that's kind of swirling around my head. We definitely need the new fire truck. It has nothing to do with that. It's paying for it. So Chief Spencer, you've said you found $150,000 worth of savings in the budget.
Not necessarily found. We've just made changes in operations and contracts and vendors to save that. But yes, roughly between $100,000 to $150,000.
Okay, so that was just my word. So how much between what and 150?
100 to 150,000.
Okay, so that's a pretty good size
Yes, ma'am.
shift there.
Yes, ma'am.
It's a third more, or it could be a third less.
Well,
and this-
I'm being conservative when I throw the number out there.
Okay, and this truck looks like it's going to be about 120,000. That's a year, right? That's not a month.
Correct, a year.
So I think where I'm a little queasy about this is I'm not looking at the budget, and I can't see where you found savings, and I'm uncomfortable. It's just nebulous. It doesn't feel solid. I guess because I can't see it. I can't see numbers. I can't see what you've found. I'm working my hands on the tabletop. I can't see what you found that is going to be a cost savings and approximately how much that is. And then we're looking at $120-ish thousand a year to pay for the new truck, which yes, we need. And then it just feels like the last several months, there's always been something else that's popped up that, well, we need this, we need to be able to pay for this. And we've got savings over here because of all these things that we've swizzled. And I'm uncomfortable hearing these things, maybe not month after month, but every other month or something like that, that we need X and we're going to pay for it with Y. But I can't see, I mean, it just is starting to feel like we're robbing Peter to pay Paul with all the savings money that we've discovered or worked. And I'm just uncomfortable with that.
I understand.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, and we can, and rightfully so. So I have that worksheet. It's my worksheet, so it's not as financially savvy as some of Susan's work, and it doesn't look as pretty. But I have my worksheet that identifies where we've been making cutbacks and identifying those savings that I can certainly share with you, so you know exactly where those funds are coming from and what
I
we're
would
talking.
appreciate that. That would give me a warmer, fuzzier feeling.
That would be good.
I would
Yes.
also like to add that some of the major purchases that she's referring to over the last couple of months have been water related. Okay, keeping in mind as we change the water rates and recoup some of these monies back into reserve, that stuff is going to be covered and is no longer going to be taken away from the general fund. So I see your point, Susan, but I also know that the majority of our large purchases have been water related.
Okay. And I know that we're going into the budget process pretty soon.
Oh, yeah.
It's April, and so we're going to be
I have started.
Yes. And so I'm just, we're a little town, and every year we're told, hey, we found some money, we're going to trim this down. And well, there's only so many places you can trim down after years start rolling by. And I'm just uncomfortable that I'm just uncomfortable. I need to see where we're trimming and where we're finding
Right.
save, because $120,000 a year on top of everything else we're already funding, et cetera, is just, I'm a little queasy with that. I just need to see something.
And then keep in mind that we're gonna have a reduction in maintenance costs as well.
Why
So,
is that?
Why is that? Because we're spending, like she said, you know,
Last year
last
alone,
year,
$65,000.
$65,000 to repair that engine. Well, that came out of general fund. So, and those are not even on his spreadsheet. But
Well, one good thing about it is too, though, we're not just pouring more money into things. We're stopping the bleeding in areas where we've had issues. And you guys were identifying those things, and we're stopping our spending in that aspect. So,
and yeah, and we can have something ready for you next week to see some of the money, so you have a,
Thank you.
we can ease your mind a little bit.
That would be
Thank
great.
you.
Yep.
Judy, did you have a comment?
Well, I was just thinking like you know, it seems like every time we have a meeting, it's a new project coming up that we need, or we've got to do this, or, you know, and I thought,
That's because you got a progressive team now.
yeah, I
We're,
know.
we're looking for ways to make it happen for you.
But we
I
do
would like to say that,
have a budget too, you know.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
also, I'd say when Chief Spencer came, as he was coming up and was appointed to city manager, his main focus that he drove home to all the department heads and directors is being budget conscious all the time. It doesn't mean cut corners, which is why you see these projects popping up, because we know that we can't cut corners anymore. We have to stay on the forefront. We have to stop being behind the eight ball. That's why we went with the fleet concept, so that we didn't have patrol vehicles that were 10 years old that were breaking down. That's why we want to get we need a new fire apparatus now instead of waiting a few years. So would we like to trim the fluff out of areas that we know that we can? Yeah, and that's the whole concept that he's ran with since the very, very beginning. And that's where it led to this progressive mindset of trying to get ahead of the problems before we're already behind the eight ball.
I just wanted to highlight a couple of examples of the savings, and you'll recall these as we've talked about them before in council meetings, but our communications transition with the internet and the phone system and consolidating all of that into one, that was a $24,000 savings over what we were previously paying. That project is about 98% complete. So we should start seeing, well, we are seeing those savings currently. We should start to see more as time goes on.
and that's a yearly expense.
That's a
So,
yearly expense.
Cost we're saving.
We've had some staffing changes within the library that have led to almost $40,000 in employee cost savings. Conversion to Verizon Wireless instead of Sprint saved us a couple $1,000s a year. Eliminating the janitorial service and moving that into an employee role has saved us over $17,000 a year. Elimination of the pest control service is saving us $3,000 a year. Consolidating the fire marshal position and the fire chief position into one has saved us over $18,000 a year. So
That's
just
more
those administrative changes and moving things around and reallocating some things and finding a better way of doing stuff is where we're finding those funds that we're saving. That's where I'm getting that number.
Okay.
And I'll be happy to, I'm going to get Susan's help in making this a little prettier for you and making sure it's 100% accurate before I send it out to you.
Okay.
But we'll definitely get this information out there.
Thank you.
And what else?
Also somebody mentioned the fleet. We're saving money on the fleet. Could we, no hurry, but could we be given something that shows exactly how much money we're putting out on that, but how much we're actually saving?
Yes, and I'm glad that you brought that up. We actually have a budget review meeting coming up later this month with Enterprise. And I will ask them to personally come to a council meeting to show you those numbers and how that program's working. It's time that we have a review. We're due for a review anyway. So we're getting ready to have that review with the staff, and then I'll ask them to come and make a presentation to you as council so you can see those hard numbers as well.
Okay.
When you said the white fleet's fixing to be changed out, right?
It's already in the process. So you're going to see a couple of new vehicles in the white fleet. We've had a couple of trucks that are being traded in for the Traverses. We're also downsizing several of the other public works trucks, but those are going to be a little ways out because of the GM strike and other things that have affected the timeline on that. But you'll see that the new vehicles will start to cycle out about every year.
It's already been a year.
It's already, yes. We're coming up on year 3.
Hopefully, when the new budget, y'all working on the new budget, we'll be able to see more in the budget what next year will be.
Yes, like the CIP things that are going to pop up next year.
Yes.
We're going to
So is
mention.
the contract expiring for the automobiles, the trucks and the cars?
It's a 5-year agreement, I believe.
Okay, so what are you referring to? I'm sorry.
The enterprise fleet program. It's the lease program that we use with Enterprise.
It's time for an annual review with them, Johnny.
Yeah, they're just going to come and give us an update. It's kind of like a health check. They're just going to come in and give us an update on how the program's working financially, how much we're saving on maintenance, how much we're saving on cost. If you remember, the basic concept with the white fleet is we can purchase as a government entity, we can purchase a $50,000 truck for $40,000. We drive it for a year. We can turn around and sell that truck for $40,000, pretty much breaking us even with the white fleet, which means we only have to focus funds on upfitting cost with police vehicles and things that are lasting, less 3 or 4 years. So that concept has allowed us to have all new vehicles at a lower or similar rate than what we were paying to buy just a few vehicles a year.
And what kind of insurance do we have on our vehicles? Like if one of our white fleet gets damaged?
It's through TML.
Okay.
Same insurance that we had before. We cover those vehicles.
Okay.
That's a requirement within the contract with Enterprises that we provide the insurance on the vehicles.
Okay.
Okay, do we have any other questions on the fire engine replacement?
Got off topic.
Kind of got off track a little bit. Do we have any other questions on the fire truck?
No, I'm just concerned about how we're actually going to be able to make that yearly payment.
So real quick, Mayor, does council want to consider this next week? Do you want to see hard numbers next week only? Are you ready to move forward, make a decision if we present hard numbers next week to you and then consider this? How do you want to move forward on the fire truck?
Susan?
I'm ready to vote on it. So I just need to see some numbers so that when I say yes, I'm comfortable that I can look a citizen in the face and say, we need this and this is how we're going to make that payment.
Okay.
That will be included with the packet on Friday.
Keep in mind, once we get this in place, it'll help lower our ISO rating,
Yes.
which will lower their insurance. for our
That's
residents.
excellent.
The only thing I want to add, I know that you're concerned about the annual payment. The only other option would be to go to a fire engine, which we're talking about 100,000-ish less a year, 110, something like that. Huh?
No, total.
Total. Sorry. 110,000 total less. So you're looking at about $11,000 a year. So it's not there. The price difference is not necessarily the best investment for us. If as long as we're able to make that payment at that 120 or 110, it's kind of 6 one ways, half a dozen another between the two, cost wise.
You almost talked yourself out of a Quinn.
Yeah.
When he said $110,000 less a year? Yeah.
We only get $10,000 a year. We're all
Get a fire
for
truck
that,
for
so.
$10,000 a year. That'd be great.
Done, Keith, done.
Okay, so
We don't want to get a lesser quality engine, if that's what you were saying.
Yeah, that's basically what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no,
is everybody good on voting for this at the regular meeting?
yes.
Yes.
Judy, Johnny?
Just show us numbers.
Yes,
Linda?
ma'am. Yes.
Okay, we'll put it on next week's meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, next item is various board member applications, item number 21084.
This will just be really quick. We have a few board membership openings that we've been advertising on social media and the website at the request of council. We've had a couple of applicants since then. One of them is to the events board. The applicant to the events board is actually a paramedic firefighter on the fire department. She has an extensive interest in helping out with events, and she is already stepping up to help out with the Easter event coming up this weekend. The other applicant is Danny Soria. I think I'm saying her last name right.
Soria.
Yes, like that.
School board.
Yes, she is. She is on the school board and she is applying to the Economic Development Corporation.
Oh, excellent.
So they will both be here next week for your approval or denial and swearing in.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so next item 4, boards and commission meetings. Item number 21086.
This has kind of been a topic for discussion for a while, and I've received some complaints about kind of just how some of our boards or commissions just kind of randomly meet. One of our boards, the Board of Adjustments, actually hasn't met in years. So that makes it difficult from a management perspective of, do we know if they're even still active on the board? What is their participation level? How do we go about enforcing rules? And there's just not really any set dates for meetings, which makes it hard on the staff. If last minute we get a call about, hey, we need to have a meeting this week, and I've got to coordinate some staff to be here after hours to have these meetings. So what I would like to recommend is that council make a mandate for each board on the number of meetings. I want you to just establish how many meetings a year you want them to have, whether they're monthly, bi-monthly, or quarterly.
You want a minimum number.
A minimum number, yes. And then we'll take that to each board, have a board meeting with each board, and then they're going to set their regular meeting date each month. So we know, for example, EDC, if EDC is going to meet every quarter, we know that every quarter we'll have a set date that this is when the meeting is going to occur. Now, if that date arises and there's no business to talk about, there's nothing to happen, there's no need to have a meeting, then we can cancel that meeting, but I still want it on the calendar. That way it makes it easier for us to address that. And it also helps us hold board and commission members more accountable, and it keeps everybody in the loop. A lot of times, some of our board and commission members really just want to meet to get updates on things, and we'll have that ability if necessary to do that. And again, if there's no need to conduct any business, there's nothing to update that particular board or commission on, then we can always cancel that meeting. But I really would like to see the council set a mandate for them.
I'd like to, I've been a fan of doing the quarterly meetings, but my thought is on that even if they don't have anything to discuss, still get them together. We could use those for training opportunities to better educate them on what they're doing, or fill them in on things that are going on in the city. So let's give them a purpose instead of them not meeting for a year and a half. And then when you call them that one time, expecting them to show up. And that's happened on one or two of our boards. So I personally, I'm all for setting a minimum of quarterly. It'd be up to the council if they wanted to do something a little bit more than that, like bi-monthly, or kind of like mayor's councils every 2 months, or because we're still going to have to call special meetings when things pop up. So
yes, we will. And if we can target those same dates and times that they're used to, that would be helpful. But sometimes we have different boards and things that the times and days are just all over the place. And we've got to strive to try to find somebody that can be here, especially with COVID, because we have to have somebody here that can operate the Zoom and make sure we're live streaming and complying with open meetings. So there's just a lot of requirements there.
So are you wanting a general consensus, or?
Yeah, just a consensus from council. And then the other thing is and we'll draft a council governance policy for council to approve. And the other thing that I'd like to include in there with council's permission is to mandate a training for all presidents or leaders of the boards and commissions. And we've talked, we can do that training in-house between Mindy and I to teach Open Meetings Act, what the law requires, how to conduct an agenda.
But that stuff's available online too.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
It's easily available. So,
Yeah.
So like I said, I'm okay with the quarterly. If you guys want to get together and work it out to where we don't have 2 or 3 groups meeting on the same nights.
We've had that before.
And you can set up you guys could spread them out, but bring us a plan.
When was that? Like maybe 6 months ago? Mindy had to run one Zoom meeting while I was running the other Zoom meeting. It was great.
It happened to the animal control board once too.
Yes.
And that may be the one you're talking about.
Well, thoughts? I mean, like I said, I'm good with the quarterly. Does anybody yay or nay?
I like it. If you know when you're going to meet, animal control board. When you're going to meet, you can put it on your calendar and plan for it.
Yeah.
Like the animal control board has to meet at least 3 times a year.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we don't have anything to talk about, but we still meet because it says we will meet 3 times a year.
Well, we also set our dates when we're going to meet too.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. However, put the animal control board on this so that we have all of our committees.
Right, I agree.
Let's don't play favorites. We need to put all of our committees on that.
Yes.
Yeah,
The TIF and the whatevers.
right.
Uh-huh.
I think the event board needs to be.
Never had a meeting on.
Well, but we're just talking about a minimum number.
This is, oh,
You guys can still, when you get
Right.
together and you want to meet in 2 weeks, you guys can still do that as long as the spot's available for that particular date. But we're just setting minimum, and it's not so much for the events board, it's for the boards that would only meet,
Very
typically
rare.
been meeting once every year and a half. And, because those people do lose interest.
Yeah.
So,
you can meet once a month.
Well, we've had it before too, where we'll call them about a board meeting and they didn't even realize they were still on the board.
I was just
They've
fixing to
been
say
that
that.
long.
Yeah.
Are these elderly people?
Some.
That's why we need to get younger people.
I resent
But
that.
this also helps, when we do have these meetings and you are keeping folks informed. This helps with that citizen input feature and that citizen interaction and keeping folks informed, because just like you, they're going to go out and tell their neighbors and their friends and other people that live in the city about what's going on in the city, and they're going to be just as informed. So it gets that word out there and assist with the transparency of the city.
so
Okay.
is everybody good with quarterly
Yeah, we're good.
at a minimum level?
Yeah.
And everybody's good with Craig and I guess Mindy working out schedules for those groups?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, you got a consensus.
Okay.
And a good place to advertise all this would be the marquee at the library.
Well, as soon as it's done, we can do that.
Is that pretty?
What is the status from that, like the newsletter?
I'm sorry.
What's the status on the newsletter?
If you'll give me till the city manager report, I'll update you on all that.
Yeah, we're getting off topic again.
Oh, okay.
Okay, then we go to item 4, executive session pursuant to section 551.071, chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code. Council reserves the right to convene into executive sessions from time to time as deemed necessary during the meeting to receive advice from its attorney on any posted agenda item as permitted by law. Additionally, council may convene in executive session to discuss the following. Item A, pending or contemplated litigation, or to seek the advice of city attorney pursuant to section 551.071. Discussion regarding possible purchase, sale, exchange, lease, or value of real property pursuant to section 551.072. Personnel matters pursuant to section 551.074. And item 1 is personnel issues, item number 21083. So the time is,
Oh, look at you remembering.
yeah, I remember it. The time is 7:49 PM. We're going into executive session.
Just stop the live stream and the recording.
Actually, 7:48. I just say 49.